Ashwin Willemse incident at the weekend highlights a number of issues that plague South African society. And even though this is not only a race issue, it does have a race dimension. Willemse ensured this by making reference to Mallett and Botha's career spanning the apartheid era. So when SuperSport CEO Gideon Kobane tells the nation that the investigation found that the incident wasn't racially motivated, he insults the intelligence of the nation. It's either that or Willemse caved when the weight of his statements and the implications bore down on him. Willemse's apartheid statement immediately polarized white and black South Africans. And in the wake of that statement, many white South Africans have called for evidence of racism. Look, I get that being accused of racism is a serious thing, and many white people are looking for mitigation because it seems to have become a stain on an entire racial demographic, which of course it isn't. But the evidence they seek can't be provided in the manner they want. Nobody can ever explain to you the sense of being subtly undermined, oppressed, or discriminated against. It's futile to try and explain that. You just know. And Willemse just knew. There's levels to this shit. And the science of subtly making one feel less than is a skill that an alarming number of white people are beginning to master. And it would be remiss of me not to mention the overt racism coming from the black side of this argument. Going back to the issue, personally I feel like a frank and honest conversation between all the parties involved solves this. Mallett and Botha need to examine themselves for prejudice and then engage Willemse, seeking to understand his position. This will require a high level of emotional maturity from all the parties involved, and I hope it happens. But there's a couple of things I'll never tolerate, and one of them is the smear campaign that ensued against Willemse after the incident. So Rapport runs a story quoting an anonymous source who claims to have insight into Willemse's deep incompetence. This source says Willemse seldom prepares for shows and relies on Mallett and Botha to do that. The source also claims that he often doesn't pitch for work commitments and functions. If this is the case, I wonder how Willemse still has a job. Surely SuperSport need to hold him to the conditions of his contract then. I mean, why would SuperSport tolerate this behavior? Especially in light of there being a deep pool of people who can do Willemse's job. I have serious reservations about the objectivity of that source. It's the kindest way I can put it. Shifting focus away from race and towards the supposed incompetency of a black man is one of those levels I mentioned earlier. Finally, I want to talk about language and the use thereof being central to the perception of competency. English is Willemse's second language, and yet he's mercilessly gunned down for his articulation of thoughts and the pronunciation of some words. Here's a thought. Maybe if the color of his skin didn't bar him from attending junior schools that would have refined his English, he would have spoken the language well enough for you to consider him competent. The use of language is undoubtedly tied to the perception of competence, but in this case, it's a poor measure of the analyst that is Willemse. And lest we forget, Naas Botha tackles English with the same proficiency he tackled in his playing career, yet he gets a pass. I can also think of a handful of English first language SuperSport presenters who aren't subjected to the same criticism, despite making a career from speaking in sporting cliches. Looking at the issue broadly again, do I think anyone should be fired? Absolutely not. What purpose would that serve? The objective must be to model reconciliation, and in so doing, pour water on the flames of racial hate. But this has to be an authentic process where all the parties involved listen to the other with the sole intent of understanding and never replicating the behavior, conscious or unconscious, that sparked this ugly moment in our sporting history.